Hold on, guys. Just give me a second. I need to check my Facebook feed here and see what's happening today. I got to make sure I stay up to date. Have you ever been talking to someone and they seem to be more focused on their social media feed than they are you? According to socialmediaexplorer.com, this has become a real problem for people of all ages. Most likely, you've either been affected by someone who's ignored you by choosing their social media, or you yourself are the guilty party and need a better understanding of how social media is affecting your life and your relationships. We know that this problem has become a big deal over the recent years and continues to grow, according to APA.org. In an article they wrote called Social Media Growing in the Impact of Our Lives, it says this: the number of people using social media in 2005 was only 5%. And that number has grown today to over 70%. Today, I want to talk to you about the overuse of social media has had adverse effects on both the individual and their relationships. I've done the research and I've seen these effects and what it talks about to the individual and to other relationships. And I've personally seen the effects of the overuse firsthand with myself and with my children. We're going to be looking at two main areas. The first, we're going to look at how social media is affecting you personally. Then second, we're going to look at how social media is affecting your relationships. So let's look at the first one. The overuse of social media is affecting you and I personally. According to BBC.com, in an article about social media and mental health, they say it's affecting individuals in 8 specific ways. And they also provide some interesting data to go along with each of these 8 ways. The first one is stress. In a survey of 1,800 people, large portions of women felt more stress because it increased their awareness of other people's stress as they were on social media. Then, our mood. In 2014, participants in a research study in Austria found that just 20 minutes on Facebook lowered their mood. Next was anxiety. A study found on ScienceDirect.com found that people who reported using 7 or more social media platforms were more than 3 times as likely as those using 0 to 2 platforms of having high levels of anxiety. How about depression? 2 studies done of 700 students found that depressive symptoms such as low mood, feelings of worthlessness or hopelessness were linked to the quality of online interactions they were having. Or what about our sleep? Humans used to spend the evenings in the dark, but now we're surrounded by artificial light day and night. Research has found that this can inhibit the body's production of the hormone melatonin, which facilitates sleep. This little blue light emitted from our smartphones or our laptop screens is what's the worst culprit in it all. The next one is addiction. Although harmful, was limited to only certain types of people. It included those who were dependent on alcohol, those who are highly extroverted, and this one really important, those who use social media to compensate for a lack of relationships. Or what about self-esteem? Social media sites make more than half of users feel inadequate, according to a survey of 1,500 people ages 18 to 34. Or finally, well-being. In a study from 2013, researchers texted 79 participants 5 times a day for 14 days, asking how they felt and how much they'd used Facebook since the last text. The more time the people spent on the site, the worse they felt later on, and the more their life satisfaction declined over time. Though others would argue that these areas are not true, we can look at our own life and we can see some of them affecting us now. With all these adverse effects on our personal relationship and our personal identity, there is sure to be consequences with relationships with others. Let's look at the second one. The overuse of social media is affecting our relationship with others in 3 major ways. First, it's affecting young people and how they develop. According to research done on procon.org, in a 2016 study, the overuse of social media as an adolescent may decrease success in relationships later in life, as online communication hinders the development of conflict management skills and the awareness of interpersonal cues. The third way, or the second way it's affecting, is with romantic relationships. Again, BBC.com, they did a research in a University of Canada, and they surveyed 300 people aged 17 to 24 about jealousy and how they felt when they were on Facebook. And they asked this question: how likely are you to become jealous after your partner adds an unknown member of the opposite sex to their friend list? Women spent more time on Facebook than men, and they experience significantly more jealousy when they do. And the research concluded that they felt that the Facebook environment created these feelings and enhanced concerns about the quality of their personal and individual relationships with others. Number 3, finally, is creating undue loneliness. Rather than authentic relationships, a study published in the American Journal of Preventive Medicine found that AJPMonline.org, they surveyed 7,019 to 32-year-olds, and they found those who spend the most time on social media were twice as likely to report experiencing social isolation, which included a lack of sense of social belonging and the inability to engage with others in meaningful relationships. Wow. Over 8 areas of concern for our mental health and 3 adverse effects on our relationship with others. We saw through websites like ScienceDirect.com that the overuse of social media is affecting you and I personally. We then looked at how the overuse of social media is affecting our relationship with others. Here's the truth again. The overuse of social media has adverse effects on both the individual and their relationships. It's clear that the overuse of social media is having negative effects on so many. I think many of us have a crossroads of deciding of how we want to move forward. Do we choose to let the screen rule our emotional state? Like the 600 adults recently studied on BBC.com who say that their time online is leaving them feeling envious and jealous of the supposed better lives that others are having. Or do we take back our life and we set limits and boundaries that not only ensure a better relationship future for us, but for the next generation as well? I have just a couple minutes. I can take a couple questions.
Yes. How many people are really using social media?
You might remember this, but the number of people using social media back in 2005 was only 5%, but our current day, it's now up to 70%. The overuse of social media is affecting people of all ages in our society. Another question?
How is social media affecting a young person's self-esteem?
According to research, social media sites make more than half of users feel inadequate. The overuse of social media has adversely affected the way a young person develops. That's all I have time for. Thank you.